we're going to be doing some deadheading, which is basically plant maintenance. Certain plants you will have to deadhead, on a frequent basis. Your New Guinea impatiens, your geraniums, your marigolds. Some plants don't really need it until they lose their bloom. Okay, we'll start with your daily ones. We'll start with marigolds. Now this is a 4-inch pot of marigolds. Okay, as you can tell, it's got one nice bloom, one bloom just starting, and a couple that are already spent. Marigolds are probably one of the easiest. All you do is you just take them and you pop their heads off. You just snap your fingers, they come out right off. That's how easy it is to do a marigold. Geranium would be your next one. Geraniums do have a tendency to sometimes for their bottom leaves to turn yellow when they start growing more. Always trim your bottom leaves. Get all the brown and yellow leaves off. Even if they're up a little bit higher, it's okay. It's not going to hurt them. Now, when you have the dead heads right on top, take it, follow it right down to where it joins to the stem, snap it right off. Sometimes you might have like one dead head in the middle. Just take it and just pinch that individual one off. Now you have a plant that looks a lot nicer. Okay, what else do we have here? Ageratum is a pack that sometimes, this is an example of what happens if it gets too wet up top. The heads will start like getting a little moldy. You could do it one of two ways. You could take them and just pick them off like this, leaving the good ones. Or you could take a small scissors and just cut. It's not going to hurt it any. All it's going to do is encourage the growth. Make sure you always take off the dead leaves too. Anything that makes your plant look bad makes you look bad. The better your plants look, the more people are going to want to buy from you. Other ones we'll go through will be, this is called a vinca. Yes, it does look like an impatient, but it has the exact opposite traits. Loves the sun, loves it hot, loves it dry. Well-drained soil is ideal for a vinca. Sometimes when their head's dry, they will fall off. Just clean them off. If their leaves get a little yellow, don't be afraid to just pick them off like that. It's not going to hurt it. All it does is make the plant look a lot nicer. You get rid of all the little dead spots on it. And then people say, oh, it looks like a much nicer plant. Let's buy it. Okay. An example of one that you wait till it's done would be like a dahlia. Once again, start by trimming your bottom leaves off. Okay, get rid of all of those. Now, you see where it has 3 beautiful blooms, but a dead one here and a dead one here. Those flowers are already spent. Take your scissors and snip it right at the base. Follow it right to where it is and just snip. They come right off. Sometimes there'll be a stem of where the old one is. Then maybe the head fell off by itself. Clip those as well. Now you have a much nicer plant. If you see any stems sticking up, don't be afraid. Cut them right off because they don't look good when they're on there. Next one we're going to do is some pansies. Pansies you get early in the season, right at the beginning of Mother's Day. They're one of the first flowers you get in. They look beautiful in cooler weather. But as the sun gets warmer and the season goes on, they have a tendency to get leggy and dry out, and the flowers shrivel up a little bit. No problems. Take your scissors, start clipping the dead heads off. And you will have a much nicer looking plant that people will want to buy. Always feel free to pick through. Sometimes it's easier if you use your fingers. Some people like using a little scissors to trim them. I say, what works for you, use. But make sure you get them all. Go through each pack individually. And then you'll be able to clean up the bottoms and you'll have something that looks a lot nicer. That's actually a dead one. The flowers are already spent on it. That looks a lot nicer and more saleable than one that has just like a lot of strings and heads detach from it, and that looks a lot nicer for sale. One thing you're going to be doing all the time is your hanging baskets. Begonias, you don't need a real lot, but if you happen to take a look at them, see any leaves that are maybe broken like this, don't be afraid to just pinch them off. They're the easiest ones. You don't really have to do a lot of begonias. Petunias is a daily job. Petunias, what happens with them is when the flowers will bloom. When they die, sometimes they stay there, they'll shrivel away, but you have to pick them for the new blooms to come. Here's an example of one that's bent. All you do is just pinch it at the base and they will come right off. Sometimes you might see little dead branches. Just break them right off. Make the plant look like it's brand new instead of something that's been sitting. Because the better it's taken care of, the better it's going to look. Okay, that one's not too bad. There's one. Now you have to watch when they start like this. This is a new bud coming out, so you don't want to pull that because you want to keep flowers on it. You can tell when you try to tug on it nice and lightly, it comes off, it's dead. If it stays on, it's a good flower. You don't want to pull off the good flowers. Your next one are your New Guinea impatiens like this. These are something you're going to have to clean on a daily basis. When the flowers die, they'll just lay right on top of the plant like this. Just pick them off like this. You'll go around. They'll have little stems sticking up from where the flowers were, and you'll have to pick the little stems off just like that. Okay, and when you're done doing these, you want to check to make sure there's no stems sticking up. Like on this one, for instance, this is one that needs a little bit of attention to it. So you have lots of little stems from where the flowers were. Pick off all those stems, because that's where they were. You want to encourage the new growth. You just continually pick those off. Now, if this is done on a daily basis, you won't have as many as this. And the plants will stay a lot fuller, because when the dead flowers are on the plants, it doesn't encourage the growth. They don't get as nice and full as this one does. This one obviously was maintained a lot better and kept after a lot better than something like this was. Something like this I would keep outside until it comes back a little bit. Now when you see a little stem with a little growth on it, that's a new flower, so don't pick it. You want to have as many flowers as you can. Check your leaves. Make sure your leaves are nice on these. If they start turning brown or black, pick them off, because you want to make the plant as healthy looking as possible. Continue to pick. Get all of the little stems off. Sometimes the flowers will dry on the leaf like this. You just peel it off. Nice and easy. Now, New Guineas are something that does maintain and need a lot of water. If they don't get enough water, like we went over in the watering session, it will wilt like this. Don't worry about it. Fill it up to the top of the pot, soak it, put it away behind your desk, behind your counter area. At the end of the day, this will come up looking like it should, like a real nice New Guinea plant again. It's not dead, it just needs water. You can tell that if you look inside how dry it is, and that it's actually away from the pot, that it comes out really easy. That's how you can tell when your plants aren't watered enough.